In this video, I'm nailing my plants to a board, assorting a lot of brass parts, and fitting a lot of plastic parts to the model. Alright, as already said in the last video, we will continue by fabricating those arches for the tow line. And these are the plans in 1:1 scale in the instructions. Each arch is made of two pieces of 2 by 5 millimeter obishi wood, and they have to be glued on top of each other. Well, obishi wood is a really flexible wood, and it's the right wood for this type of construction, but it has a porous surface, so I want to switch to a 2 by 5 millimeter walnut strip. But then later on I had to switch back because the radius was too tight, and without preparation the walnut strip will break. So we can put those plants on a piece of scrap wood and put some nails on the lower line of those arches. A few nails is enough. You need one in the center and the edge and some in between, and that is only to get the correct shape. So when we put all nails, we can prepare the two strips, and we put some wood glue of one of those two strips, and then we will clamp them down on the nails. And my advice is put some parchment paper in between it, because later on you will see the little problem I have by removing it. Well, learning from experience. And another thing is, and advice is, the arch in the center is, in my opinion, not the right radius. You see later on that I'm missing around 1 centimeter in height. So if you're building this model, maybe that's something to consider, to have the better shape of those arches. As you can see here, we removed the arch from the plants, and it sticks also really well to the paper. That's what I said before, put some parchment paper in between them. Okay, so we removed it, and then we can sand it a little bit, and after we remove the excess paper from those arches, we put some we put some CA glue on this wood, and that helps to keep the shape of those arches, because, well, it's still wood, and together with moist it maybe will move. So CA glue is, in this case, is a really good friend of you. So we can sand it down, and after we have a really smooth surface which looks like plastic or some other materials. The whole arch, all the arches we can now cover in Mr. Primer surfacer, and then scrub it down, and with that we really have a really nice surface, which we also can paint. So I measure already the edges, and also here measure twice and cut only once. That is way better, and measure it at the actual model. On the end of those arches there are some injection molded plastic knees. We have to put there only on the one on the stern and on the center. The one behind the towing hook does not have these arches because it does not reach the cap rails. So I also advise let some excess of this knees, because so you can shape it down to the shape of the cap rails. Each of those arches has some braces, and they are made of 1 millimeter brass rod and some prefabricated brass pieces. And I want to keep those brass parts, as I've already done in some other parts of this build, because that fits the overall look of this model. I know that it's not realistic, but in my opinion, in this case, it looks way better than to paint them. So I taped all those brass parts, and the rest we can paint with Komodo flat black color. And if it so happened that Komodo paints is available in the country, you should try them out. It's not an advertisement, but they are way more content, and also they are cheaper than other brands. It's just a suggestion. So when we finish painting them, we put also some satin gloss varnish on top of it to help with scratches and some other things. And that's the final result. Those arches will be stick to the hatches and also to the main structure. So by open the hatch, you also will remove the arches. Otherwise, I think it's a little bit complicated to put them on the model. And that's why you have to be very precise on putting them on the structure and also on the hatch, so that you do not have a huge gap between the cap rail and those arches. And if you look very close, you can see that the arch in the center is too low. It's below the hatch, and that shouldn't be. Okay, let's continue with the mast, and these are the parts. There are a lot of brass parts, and this is an 8mm wooden dowel, and this plastic ring, well, it has a part number, but it isn't in the instruction. But I'm very sure that this is the ring for the socket of the mast. So you see that you have two sizes of rings, and that means that you have to send the top of the mast a little bit down. The smaller rings goes in a height of 2.2 millimeters, 2.2 centimeter, and the bigger one of 10.5 centimeter. So just keep in mind that you only have to send the top of the mast, because if you send the whole mast to a cone, the bigger ring will be way too large for this shape. And there's also a little cone which comes on top of this mast. And now we can put some Mr. Surfacer on this mast and then scrub it all down. So I already installed the ring at the foot of this mast and a nail which helps keeps the mast in position. And the mast is painted in 3 different colors. The lower part up to the bridge will be brown, and then the center is this pre-mixed color I've used already for the inside of the bulwarks. It's a white, a beige, and the top is black. And that's the final result after I put some satin varnish on it. I also marked already the brass parts, which I all soldered together, because I think this is way more durable than to use only CA glue. And well, it also looks really nice after you polished it a little bit. Those mast lanterns, you have to fabricate 2 braces with from a 1mm brass rod. And there comes the second lantern, and then the rings which we have talked about before in between. And here we see the final result, including those eyeballs, which you have to put 3 of them on each of those rings. And that's for rigging up the mast. As for rigging, the kit provides also those tensioners, which are also made of brass. Well, I also polished them. I know that is really unrealistic, but it looks way better. And those eyeballs, and additional, which was not included in the kit, I used some 3 or 4mm brass rings, and you have to assemble all of this. And those rings are really helping with these tensioners. You can see that 2 of them on each side will be put right behind the bridge, and 2 at the stern post. So in reality, you have 6 lines to rig up this mast, and that's the included yarn, which I don't use because number 1, it's white, and number 2, it's really fuzzy yarn. So I switched it to a black yarn in the same size, which is way better in my opinion, and does not have so many fuzzy fibers on the surface. And I don't explain how I rig up this mask, because I did this already in so many videos before. Well, you need this the original yarn and a little bit smaller yarn, and then wrap it around the edges and then put some CA glue on it. And here you can see the second problem I have with the center arch, because there is a hatch which comes there on the edge, and it doesn't it interferes with the one of those braces of the arch, and so I had to modify one of those braces, which you can see in a few seconds in this video. And there are also some other plastic parts which come on top. So here you can see the one modified brace. You have to move them in a different to a different angle so that it will fit. So after I give the whole structure a last final scrub with sandpaper, I can cover it with Mr. Surfacer. And when we finish up with that, we can sand it again, and then put on the plastic parts. And that's the final scrub. So here we have the first hatch we installed, and there was a teeny tiny gap in between the top part and the door, and that was a little mistake by sanding this part. And also this part I sanded the outer surface because it has a lot of heat sink marks. So in my opinion, it looks better if you sand it over a 320 grit sandpaper, and then you have a really smooth surface. And here comes another hatch which fits perfectly and does not interfere with anything else on this model. And we also do not have a gap between the door and the upper part of this hatch. So there in front are the two covers for the portholes, and here you have to sand down one side and the longer side in a specific angle so that it fits to the wall of the structure. And we have some two more smaller hatch doors on each side, which fits perfectly and do not make any problems. But on this side, well, you can see where you have to put it in the plants, so it's just a guess of mine that I put it in the right position. And then there under the bridge we have another set of two doors. The one is flat and the other one has a wooden door structure with a porthole. And also here you can see only one side of it in the plants. But so I hope this is alright. So the very last thing for this video, and I should have done this before, are the anchors. And they are made of two plastic parts and very easy to assemble. You just put the anchor stock to the anchor and then glue it in the right angle to the anchor, and then fix it to the model. So after putting some X84 a dark iron on it, I will dry brush it with X10, that's gunmetal, to give the anchors a little more metallic impression. And I think the result looks way better than only with the X84. What you can see below, and the upper one is the one I've dry brushed. And here we installed it with a lot of epoxy glue so that the hole is really clogged and we do not have any water leaks on it. Alright, even so we have already fitted a lot of parts to the model and the structure. There is still no end of parts on this model because in my opinion this is a really detailed model, so we still have enough stuff for upcoming videos. After then, stay tuned and see you there!